Hey, I see you're back again. Let's go ahead and go through pages 213 through 215. We're going to start off by reading the problem on page 213 about the Juneteenth festival. Before we get started, I want it to be known that Juneteenth is the day, June 19th, that slaves were freed, and every slave in the United States knew that they were free on Juneteenth. And so that is the point of this festival, of course, celebrating freedom. Okay? Just a quick little tidbit. Let's go ahead and get started with that problem. So it says, Amani is planning her city's Juneteenth festival. There will be 3.5 hours of performances on the main stage. Each performer's time slot lasts 3/4 of an hour. How many time slots can Amani plan to have? So, again, questions that you should be asking yourself. What is my dividend? What is my divisor? If you're unsure, go ahead and ask yourself, what do we have? What do we know? What are we starting with? We have 3.5 hours here. That is our dividend to have this performance. Your next question should be, what is my divisor? Another question that you could ask yourself. What am I breaking or splitting this dividend into? In this case, you're splitting it into 3/4 of an hour. So our divisor will be 3/4 of an hour. From here, we're going to go ahead and use the Kcf method. So, to use the Kcf method, you have to go ahead and make this a improper fraction. So, because of that, we would have to do 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 1, which is 7. So again, when we want to find that improper fraction, we're going to take our denominator, we're going to multiply it to our whole number, and then we're going to add our numerator. So again, that was 2 times 3 plus 1, which gives us 7/2. From here, we're going to use our Kcf method, keep, change, flip. So, keep, change, flip. We're going to keep this fraction the same. We're going to change, we're going to change our division sign to multiplication, and we're going to flip or take the reciprocal of our fraction here and make this 4/3. From there, we know how to multiply fractions. We'll do 7 times 4, which equals 28, and 2 times 3, which equals 6. From here, we can simplify it a little bit just to make sure that we make it a little easier on ourselves. So, 28, 6. We have to figure out what number they both have in common. Well, they're both even numbers, so we can start with 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and take 2. All right, so when we do that, 28 divided by 2 equals 14, and 6 divided by 2 equals 3. From here, we don't say that we have 14/3 slots available. That doesn't make sense. So let's make it a mixed number. So we're going to figure out how many times does 3 go into 14. It goes into 14 4 times. So 3 times 4 is 12. And to get to 14, we're missing 2. So that 2 will be our numerator, and our denominator stays the same. So if it says how many time slots can Amani plan to have, she can't have 2/3 of a time slot. She can only have 4. So she has 4 time slots available. Okay. If you need this, go ahead and pause this video. If not, we're going to go ahead and flip over. Okay. Here, they start talking about the different ways that you could think about this problem. So here is literally thinking out loud. You're asking yourself, how many 3/4 time slots are there in 3.5 hours? And that's what you're trying to figure out. If you can ask yourself this question, you can set up this division statement. And this is what we solved. Here in the second model, it says you can use a bar model to divide fractions. Show 3 wholes and a half of another whole. So if you look, here is 1 whole, 2 whole, 3 whole, and a half. Then they go ahead and they break these all into halves, right? The wholes into halves. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 halves, which is what we got here, right? So we're still solving it the same way and we'll get the same answer, okay? From there, they went ahead and they broke this apart into fourths. So inside of 1/2, there is 2 1/4. So they went ahead and labeled all of the 1/4. From there, they went ahead and circled the groups of 3/4 because each of those are the time slots. And as you notice, we have 4 whole circles with 1 open circle because remember we had that 2/3 left over. Okay. Here, they also say that you can go ahead and use a common denominator to divide fractions. So we set up the exact same thing. 3½ divided by 3/4 equals 7/2 divided by 3/4. That's what we got to, and we solved here. They went ahead and changed the denominator to 14/4. So that you could just think of this as 14 divided by 3 because they have the same denominators. So it might change your thinking. I think this way would work better if this number was divisible by 14, but it is not. So I think our way was best, but that's my own opinion. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead and look at page 215. So here it says, look at the second modelet. How many 3/4 hour time slots does Amani have for performances? How does the second bar model show that? Well, we know based off of our answer, she has 4 full performances. Okay. Now, how does the second bar model show it? If you go back to this second bar model here, right? The second bar model here, where do you see those 4 performances in each of these circles, right? Each circle is a group of 3/4, which is saying each one of these circles is a performance. So you can see it in the circles or the grouping. Okay. Number 2, it says the second bar model shows one group that has only 2 parts of size 1/4. Explain why this is 2/3 of a full time slot. This is a little complicated, but we can do it because we've already proven that there is 2/3 of a time slot left. Here, if you look on page 214, this here is the 2/3 they're talking about. But this says 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 2/4, which would be 1/2, not 2/3. What we have to see is here, they went ahead and they took 1, 2, 3 group. 1, 2, 3 group. 1, 2, 3 group. 1, 2, 3 group. 1, 2. Ooh, we're missing one, right? We're missing one of these 1/4. So we only have 2, 1, 2, out of the 3 that we need to make another group. Okay, so we don't have the whole group. We only have 2 of the pieces that we need out of the 3 that it would take to make a whole one. That's where that 2/3 comes into play. Okay, so the second bar model shows one group that has only 2 parts of size 1/4. The reason for that is because we don't have enough time for a whole nother act. So there's only, explain why this group is 2/3 of a full time slot, because they're missing that other 1/4 because they don't have enough time. Okay, it's 2/3 because it's 2 1/4 out of the 3 that they need to make that spot. So they either need another 1/4 or they need some more time in order to figure out the full time slot or to make all 5 performances. Okay. All right, let's take a look at number 3. So it says, look at analyze it and the second model it. How does the bar model show that you can use the quotient 14 divided by 3 to find quotient 14/4 divided by 3/4? If again you go back to this page here and you look, you can see that there are 14 1/4 here. Okay, so that's 14/4. And we're grouping them in groups of 3. Okay, so that's why you can do that. That is 14 being divided by 3 because we've already counted them into 4ths. So here we can say there's 14 groups of 1/4. Okay, or 14, maybe we shouldn't say groups. We should probably say 14 1/4 being grouped by 3s, which is those 3/4. Okay? Number 4, it says when you divide 14 by 3, the result is 4 with the remainder 2. When you divide 14/4 by 3/4, the remainder is 2/4. And that's what we saw in that second modeling. Where do you where do you see this remainder in the bar model? You see it at the end of the second modeling, the open circle. Okay. Then it asks what fraction of the divisor 3/4 does this remainder represent? Of the 3/4 that we need, we only have 2/3 of it because we have 2 out of the 3 1/4 that we need. So it represents the 2/3. Okay. And now this says how many times does 3/4 fit into 3 1/2? Use multiplication to check your answer. We've already done this. We did this on page 213. So why don't we check it? So we're not going to actually do 5. We're going to check our work here to make sure we did it correctly. So we got 4 2/3. And we're going to multiply that times our divisor, which was 3/4. First, you have to change this into a mixed number again. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. 14 over 3 times 3/4. Okay. Here, 14 times 3, you'll get 42. And 3 times 4 is 12. From here, you're going to go ahead and see how many times can 12 fit into 42. There will be 3 times that can happen. After that, once you go ahead and do 12 times 3, you get 36. You need to see how many is left over. So you can do that by saying, 42 minus 36, or how many numbers are there between 36 and 42. You will get 6, and your denominator will stay the same. From there, you're going to go ahead and simplify this. We're not going to be lazy in our learning. We're going to divide our numerator and our denominator by 6. When we do that, we're going to go ahead and say, look at that. This isn't 6/12. This is 3 1/2, which is the amount of time that we had in the beginning, right? That's how much time we have for our festival performances. Number 6, you're going to do on your own. You're going to think about all the models and strategies you have discussed today. You're going to describe how one of them helped you better understand how to divide fractions when the quotient is not a whole number. All right? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to come see me at office hours, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 2 to 3:25. And if there's nothing else, then I'll see you in class. Bye.